What if I told you that your manifestations aren't working? Has nothing to do with your desire, visualization, or belief? What if the real problem is that you've been taught a fundamentally flawed understanding of how manifestation works? In the next 30 minutes, I will reveal why ancient Egyptian priests could manifest physical gold from thin air, while modern practitioners struggle to manifest a parking space. The difference isn't in their power. It's in their understanding of three critical principles deliberately obscured from mainstream spiritual teaching. By the end of this video, you'll understand why positive thinking blocks manifestation, why most visualization techniques work against you, and how the ancients approached manifestation in a way that guaranteed results. This isn't feel-good spirituality. The complex science of consciousness that the mystery schools guarded for thousands of years. The great deception of modern manifestation. First, you must understand that everything you've been taught about manifestation in the last 50 years is based on a fundamental misunderstanding of how consciousness interacts with reality. Modern manifestation teaching treats the universe like a cosmic vending machine. Put in the right thoughts, feelings, and actions, and get your desired outcome. This mechanistic approach completely ignores what ancient Egyptian priests understood about the nature of consciousness itself. In the temples of Karnak and Dendera, manifestation wasn't about getting something from the universe. It was about recognizing that you are the universe experiencing itself subjectively. The Hermetic principle of mentalism states, "The all is mind, the universe is mental." This isn't metaphorical poetry. It's a precise description of the fundamental nature of reality. We call physical matter crystallized consciousness, temporarily organized into patterns we perceive as solid objects. When you understand this principle, you realize that manifestation isn't about convincing some external force to give you what you want. It's about recognizing that the consciousness observing your desire and the consciousness that would fulfill that desire is the same, yours. Modern manifestation fails because it operates from the illusion of separation. You believe you are here, your desire is there, and the universe is some third party that might or might not cooperate with your wishes. This fundamental misunderstanding creates resistance at the quantum level, literally preventing your manifestations from materializing. The three fatal errors that block manifestation. The error of wanting. The first critical error that destroys manifestation is the vibration of wanting itself. When you want something, you're broadcasting the energetic signature of lack. You're telling the quantum field you don't have what you desire, and the field responds by maintaining that state of not having. Ancient Egyptian priests understood that desire and fulfillment exist in different vibrational dimensions. The moment you want something, you've separated yourself from it energetically. This is why the Hermetic texts speak of desireless desire, holding the vision without the emotional charge of lacking. The quantum field doesn't respond to your words or even your visualizations. It responds to your vibrational state. When you're in a state of wanting, you're vibrating at the frequency of absence. The field, essentially a mirror of consciousness, reflects that absence to you as a continued lack. This is why people can visualize and affirm for years without results. They're unknowingly reinforcing the very state they're trying to escape. Every time you need to manifest something, you confirm energetically that you don't already have it. The error of future projection. The second fatal error is projecting your manifestation into the future. Time, as Einstein proved, is relative to the observer. What ancient mystics knew and what quantum physics now confirms is that all possibilities exist simultaneously in what physicists call the quantum superposition. When you say, "I will have," or "I'm going to manifest," you place your desired reality in a future that never arrives. The future is always the future. It's never now. And now is the only moment where manifestation can occur. The Egyptian mystery schools taught that manifestation happens in the eternal present. Not the present moment as we understand it, a fleeting instant between past and future, but the eternal now that exists outside of linear time altogether. This is why ancient manifestation techniques focused on present statements of being, not future statements of becoming. "I am wealthy" creates a different quantum signature than "I will be wealthy." The first statement aligns you with a reality where wealth already exists. The second statement perpetually pushes that reality into a tomorrow that never comes. The error of emotional force. The third error that blocks manifestation is using emotional force to make things happen. Modern manifestation teaching often emphasizes feeling as if your desire has already manifested. But there's a crucial difference between the feeling of having and the feeling of trying to feel like you have. When you force emotions, you create energetic turbulence in your field. The quantum realm responds to coherence, not intensity. A calm, steady knowing is infinitely more potent than excited, emotional forcing. Ancient priests spent years learning to maintain emotional equilibrium because they understood that manifestation requires a still mind and a peaceful heart. Emotional force creates resistance. It's like trying to see your reflection in turbulent water. The image becomes distorted and unclear. The Hermetic principle of rhythm teaches that everything flows in cycles. When you try to force manifestation through emotional intensity, you're working against natural rhythm. You create an artificial peak that an equally intense valley must follow. The ancient Egyptian approach to manifestation. Now that you understand why modern methods fail, let me reveal how the ancient Egyptians approached manifestation with guaranteed success. Their process was based on 3 principles that modern science is only beginning to understand. Principle 1, identity alignment. The first principle is identity alignment. Before attempting any manifestation, Egyptian priests would spend months or even years aligning their identity with their desired outcome. They didn't try to get something. They became someone who already had it. This wasn't positive thinking or affirmations. This was a complete restructuring of their self-concept at the deepest levels of consciousness. They understood that you can only manifest from who you are, not who you want to become. Identity exists at a deeper level than thoughts or emotions. It's the fundamental organizing principle of your reality. When your identity shifts, your reality automatically reorganizes itself to match. This happens not through effort, but through natural law. Most people struggle with manifestation because they're trying to manifest their identity. They want wealth while maintaining the identity of someone who struggles with money. They want love while holding the identity of someone unworthy of love. Egyptian priests understood that manifestation is identity expression. When you truly embody the identity of someone who has what you desire, having it becomes as natural as breathing. There's no effort, no struggle, no trying to make it happen. It simply is. Principle 2, vibrational embodiment. The second principle is vibrational embodiment. This goes far deeper than feeling good or maintaining positive emotions. Vibrational embodiment means aligning every level of your being: physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual, with the frequency of your desired reality. Ancient Egyptians developed sophisticated techniques for measuring and adjusting vibrational frequency. They understood that everything has a specific vibrational signature, and manifestation occurs entirely when you match it. This is why their temples were built with specific geometric proportions and acoustic properties. The architecture itself was designed to induce specific vibrational states. When priests entered these spaces, their entire energy field automatically aligned with the frequency of whatever they intended to manifest. Modern manifestation often focuses only on mental and emotional alignment, while ignoring the physical and energetic dimensions. But consciousness is expressed through all levels simultaneously. If your body is tense, your emotions scattered, and your energy field chaotic, no amount of positive thinking will create coherent manifestation. Vibrational embodiment requires what the Egyptians called total alignment. Every aspect of your being resonating at the same frequency. When this occurs, manifestation isn't something you do. It's something you are. Principle 3. Quantum assumption. The third principle is a quantum assumption. This is the most sophisticated aspect of ancient manifestation technology. Quantum assumption means operating from the belief that your desired reality already exists, and you're simply selecting which version of reality to experience. Modern quantum physics confirms what Egyptian priests knew thousands of years ago. Multiple realities exist simultaneously. What we call manifestation is reality selection. You're not creating something new, you're choosing which existing reality to experience. This understanding completely changes your approach to manifestation. Instead of trying to make something happen, you assume it has already happened and align your consciousness with that assumption. This isn't pretending or positive thinking. It's a precise technology for navigating quantum possibilities. When you genuinely understand the quantum assumption, you realize that the reality where you have what you desire already exists. Your job isn't to create it. It's to become the version of yourself who naturally experiences that reality. The practical application of ancient manifestation. Understanding these principles intellectually is only the beginning. The real power comes from practical application. Let me walk you through the exact process the Egyptian priests used to manifest anything they desired. Phase 1. Identity reconstruction. Before attempting any manifestation, spend at least 30 days reconstructing your identity. This isn't about changing your personality or pretending to be someone else. It's about recognizing and embodying the most profound truth of who you are. Begin each day by asking yourself, who would I be if I already had what I desire? Don't think about actions or behaviors. Focus on the fundamental sense of self. How would someone who naturally has wealth believe in money? How would someone who's deeply loved approach relationships? The key is to consistently identify the core identity shift required and live from that identity. This means making decisions, responding to situations, and interacting with others from your new identity, not your old one. Most people try to manifest their current identity and wonder why nothing changes. You cannot manifest beyond your identity. If you want different results, you must become a different person at the identity level. Phase 2. Vibrational calibration. Once your identity begins to shift, you must calibrate your vibrational frequency to match your desired reality. This requires simultaneously working with your physical body, emotional state, mental patterns, and energetic field. Begin with your physical body. How does someone who has what you desire carry themselves? How do they breathe, move, and occupy space? Your body is constantly broadcasting your vibrational signature. Change how you inhabit your body, and you change your frequency. Next, address your emotional state. This isn't about forcing positive emotions, but about cultivating emotional coherence. Practice maintaining inner peace regardless of external circumstances. When your emotional field is calm and stable, it becomes a clear channel for manifestation. Your mental patterns must also align. Notice the quality of thoughts that arise naturally when embodying your new identity. These aren't forced positive thoughts, but the natural mental activity of someone who already has what you desire. Finally, work directly with your energetic field. Ancient Egyptians used specific breathing techniques, geometric visualizations, and sound frequencies to adjust their energy field. The goal is to create a coherent, stable field that naturally attracts your desired reality. Phase 3. Quantum selection. The final phase is quantum selection, the actual process of choosing which reality to experience. This is done through what the Egyptians called the assumption of fulfillment. Enter a deeply relaxed state and assume your desire has already been fulfilled. This isn't visualization or imagination, it's assumption. You're not trying to create something or make something happen. You're simply assuming it happened and aligning your consciousness with that assumption. The key is to maintain this assumption without effort or strain. If you find yourself trying to make it feel real or forcing the experience, you've moved back into wanting and future projection. Valid assumption feels natural and effortless because you're not creating anything. You're simply recognizing what already is. Hold this assumption for as long as it feels natural, then release it completely. Don't check for results. Don't look for signs. Don't try to figure out how it will happen. Your job is assumption and alignment, not management of outcomes. Why this ancient method guarantees success. This ancient approach guarantees success, while modern methods often fail because they work with natural law rather than against it. You're not trying to force the universe to give you something. You're aligning yourself with an existing reality. Manifestation becomes inevitable when your identity, vibration, and assumption are perfectly aligned. It's not a matter of if, but when and how. The quantum field has no choice but to reflect your state of consciousness to you as a physical experience. This is why ancient Egyptian priests could manifest seemingly impossible things. They weren't using supernatural powers, but applying natural laws with scientific precision. They understood that consciousness is the fundamental substance of reality. And when you align consciousness properly, reality automatically reorganizes itself. The manifestations that result from this approach often come in ways you never expected, through paths you never considered, with perfect timing, even when it doesn't match your preferences. This is because you're working with universal intelligence, rather than trying to micromanage outcomes from your limited perspective. The spiritual responsibility of true manifestation. Before I share the specific techniques for implementing this ancient approach, there's something crucial you must understand about the spiritual responsibility that comes with this knowledge. When you learn to manifest using these ancient principles, you're not just getting what you want, but stepping into your role as a conscious creator. This comes with profound responsibility for the energy you put into the world and the realities you choose to experience. The Egyptian mystery schools taught that manifestation is a sacred act. Every time you manifest something, you participate in the ongoing creation of reality. This means you must consider what you want and what serves the highest good of all consciousness. True manifestation masters understand that individual fulfillment and universal harmony are not separate goals. They're the same goal expressed at different levels. When you manifest from your highest identity and most profound truth, what you create naturally serves the evolution of consciousness. This is why the ancient teachings emphasize wisdom before power. The ability to manifest is a natural result of spiritual development, not a technique to be used for ego gratification. When you approach manifestation as a spiritual practice, rather than a personal advantage, you align yourself with infinitely more powerful forces than an individual will. Your next steps on the path of ancient manifestation. Now that you understand why most people fail at manifestation and how the ancients guaranteed success, your real journey begins. This knowledge is worthless unless it's applied with dedication and precision. Start with identity work. Spend the next 30 days identifying and embodying the version of yourself who naturally has what you desire. This isn't role-playing, recognizing and expressing your most profound truth. Then, move into vibrational calibration. Learn to maintain coherence in your physical, emotional, mental, and energetic fields. This takes practice, but it's the foundation of all successful manifestations. Finally, master the quantum assumption. Practice assuming your desires are already fulfilled without trying to make anything happen. This is the most subtle and powerful aspect of ancient manifestation technology. Remember, this isn't about getting what you want, but becoming who you truly are. When you embody your highest identity and align with your most profound truth, having what you desire becomes as natural as breathing. The ancient masters knew that manifestation is not about acquisition, but recognition. You're not trying to get something from the universe. You're recognizing that you are the universe, temporarily focused through the lens of individual consciousness. If this resonates with you, if you're ready to move beyond the limitations of modern manifestation and step into the power of ancient wisdom, then subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell. We will dive deeper into these teachings, exploring the specific techniques, practices, and principles that the mystery schools used to guarantee manifestation success. Like this video if it's opened your eyes to why your previous manifestation attempts may have failed. And share it with anyone ready to understand the real science of consciousness. Together, we're reclaiming the ancient wisdom that can transform not just our lives, but the entire trajectory of human consciousness. The universe is waiting for you to remember who you truly are. The question is, are you ready to step into that remembering?